This is my new 1960's Quincy 230-32 air compressor. It's a twin-cylinder air compressor head. Weighs 275 pounds according to the literature I found. It's rated 13 CFM at 400 RPM and 23 at 900 RPM. This pump is currently set up to run at 550 RPM. The motor that powers it is a 3 horsepower Dayton Dyna motor. It's a 1750 RPM single phase motor, 18 amps on 230. It has a 5-inch pulley on the motor, and there's a 16 3/4 inch pulley on the compressor, so it has 550 effective pump RPM. The pump is literally quite massive, as you can see. It's very sizable for a compressor, which is probably about 16 cubic feet a minute or so in its current setup. It has a 3.5-inch bore and 3-inch stroke, air-cooled obviously. It has its built-in oil pump, so it maintains about 19 to 20 pounds of oil pressure during operation. Doesn't get very hot. It spins so slow. Quincy compressors are regarded as one of the best compressors out there. This one has a lot of hours on it. This actually came out of the boiler room at the Merrick High School, where this compressed air for the furnace for the school. And the 5 horsepower 3-phase motor that originally powered it burned out 18 years ago when the janitor picked it up and brought this home, put the 3 horsepower single-phase motor on it and ran it on a blast cabinet. And I just picked it up from him 3 days ago, so I kind of replumbed everything, cleaned it up, and now I'm ready to use it for my 1960's Trinco blast cabinet here. And I have an external blast cabinet, so I could do farm tractors, small machinery, my truck. Lots of other projects which I'll be restoring in the future. Yeah, there it is. It has a 30-gallon tank on it. Probably would have had a 120 or 200-gallon tank, but this is as much as I can fit in my garage. This tank is rated at 200 psi. It's dated 1956 or 57, I forget. I've got the 3/4 inch check valve here. Copper line coming in. So air is feeding into the tank here. Air is coming out on the other side, where I have a T for a pressure valve, Wilkerson air filter, air dryer, and a 3/4 inch Lunkenheimer valve for running air. Unfortunately, this has the wrong coil in this box here, so I have to have 115 volts to run the pressure switch, which shuts the compressor off at 120 pounds and kicks it back in at 105 pounds. So yeah, that's pretty much all together now. I just have to kind of replace these 2 copper lines, because they're not in the best condition. But right now it seems to hold air with no leaks, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I guess we'll fire it up. Very quiet. The initial current draw on the motor in this setup is 11.7 amps, and by the time it shuts off it's about 16.4 amps. The motor's rated 18 amps, so it's pretty much at its upper echelon of what it can run. If I wanted to run the pump faster, I'd have to replace it with a 5 horsepower single phase motor, and I could probably boost it up to 700, 800 pump RPM and closer to 20 to 23 CFM. So right now, hopefully this is perfect. I've got it on this nice little cart, which I built out of 4x4s and has casters on it so I could roll it around. Fits underneath my shop table. It takes 2.5 minutes to charge up to the 30-gallon tank to 120 pounds. Whereas it's much nicer than the older Quincy compressor that I had. the garage on a similar 30-gallon tank. That was only 4 cubic feet a minute. This is much better than that. It's a lot quieter too. Kind of a project where I'm experimenting with different thread sealants. Everything under 1/2-inch pipe thread, I'm using Loctite 567 with PTFE in it. And everything above that, I went to an OD product called Real Tough. And that has PTFE chunks in it. And unfortunately, the 1.5 NPT fittings on the tank were in poor shape, so I had to cut them down. Jumbo tap here. It's a massive tap. And a friend of mine who's a plumber recommended to use like this very thin rope with Hercules Megalock. And so far there's no leaks at all. So there it is. It'll sit all day at 120 pounds, no leaks. You can't hear anything coming out, and it's actually really nice because this kind of compressor, it spins so slow, you could just run it all day and it never really gets hot. I recorded today is 65 degrees ambient temperature, and with the infrared gun it's only running 82 to 84 degrees. After running 20 minutes or so before this, I could still, hold my hand on it. This compressor, it can be upgraded to have unloader valves on it, but for what it is and how much I'll be using it, this is going to be much more than adequate. So there it is. 1960's Quincy 230-32 compressor, 3 horsepower Dayton Dyna motor, a 30-gallon tank. Alright, thanks for watching.